be talking about the Delta Force 2 operations manual. We're going to be going through this. We may not cover everything, and we're hoping people will take screenshots. We're not going to read the entire thing. Talks about in October 1977, the 1st Special Forces Operation Detachment Delta was secretly formed to deal with the growing threat of world terrorism. At Fort Bragg, elite Delta Force operatives recruited many from the 82nd Airborne Special Forces Green Beret and the U.S. Army Rangers, rigorously trained in hostage rescues, specialized in reconnaissance and other counterterrorism techniques, highly skilled, close-quarter battle, armed with the best equipment and able to infiltrate the civilians. Delta Force is ready to deal with the most dangerous world threats. Due to the extreme sensitive nature of these low visibility missions, the U.S. Department of Defense still does not officially acknowledge the existence of Delta Force. And this is the Special Forces creed right here. You can take a screenshot of this. I mean, like I said, we're not going to go over everything. We're not going to read everything. These are the credits. Of course, we're going to leave a link in the description of this. You can copy and paste it and put at the very top of, and you could get access to this PDF file. I came across this by accident. These are the people right here. Gratefully acknowledge cooperation of the Department of Defense, Department of Army, and specifically Office of the Chief of Public Affairs, Los Angeles Branch, Advertising Public Affairs Directorate, U.S. Army Recruitment Command, Fort Knox, Kentucky Public Affairs Office, U.S. Army Special Force Special Operations Command, Airborne, Fort Bragg, North Carolina Public Affairs Office, U.S. Army Special Force Command, Airborne, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Special thanks to the U.S. Marine Corps, U.S. Marine Corps Public Affairs Office, Los Angeles, California, United States Border Patrol, Firearms Training Facility, Marine Corps personnel at Camp Pendleton, California. And right here, this is not relevant because I don't believe you can use the CD anymore. It has to be done through Evo or DF Barracks. So we're not going to go through this right here, the CD-RAM part. Or any of this right here, capability, compatibility on there. Right here, we'll go through this a little bit. Setting screens allow you to reconfigure several elements of the game. General setting, mouse sensitivity, adjust how responsive mouse is. Flip mouse reverses look up, look down movement on the mouse. Controls resolution between 4:300 to 1024 to 768. Pentium 2 is required at 800 to 600 and greater resolutions. Driver, play the game in Windows on your desktop in a full screen mode or in a direct 3D mode. Direct X 6 is required for direct 3D mode. Note windowed mode does not support mouse look. SFX volume, set the volume level of game sound. Special effects, tip paying close attention to the subtle sounds around you as vital survival skills of a Delta Force operator. Music volume sets the volume level of the music in the menus. Dialogue volume, set the volume of the spoken dialogue in the game. So a lot of this stuff you want to leave alone. You could mess with the music volume, but you don't want to mess with the other volumes on there. Difficulty settings, this for the host, applies to an enemy AI. Select hard to make the enemy use more complex tactics. The game defaults to easy. Squad member, select off if you want to brave a mission on your own. Tracer set, select off if you don't want to see the bullets trail from the weapons that use tracer bullets. Note that not all firearms use tracers. Friendly fire warning, select off to remove the red safety X that appears when you target your team members. GPS icons, by default, each mission shows icons for certain enemies with the GPS and commander's map. You can select show friendly to see only your teammates, or show everything to see all enemies enemies in the mission. Wind, if you don't want to experience the effects of the wind in your game, turn this setting off. Now I'm gonna go right here where it's talked about to see the enemies. It may have been that way in the past, but as far as I know, I don't think you could see the enemy by GPS. At least I've not been able to. At least not recently. Remap keyboard. The screen allows you to reconfigure what action the keys and mouse will control. Select and command the command with your mouse and follow the instructions on the right side of the screen. Message macros. To effectively communicate with fellow players, you can preset set messages with the macro keys. During the games, press the T key to talk and hit the function key when they return, and preset text will be sent. F1 is a package of secure. F2, prepare to assault on my mark. F3 is sniper takes the high ground. F4, gunners go for the flags. F5, guard the base. F6, I need backup now. F7, in position, standing by. F8, mess with the best, die like the rest. F9, is that all you got? F10 is it's hard work being this good. Now the voiceover net thing, we're not going to go through this because it no longer works on Delta Force 2. They went to Roger Wilco, and now people have went over to Discord, and you have that option. Or you could do an item that I have suggested, Zello. Zello would be perfect for the game, and I'll talk about that later in other videos. And I have made suggestions of using Zello walkie-talkie app and into the game itself. Here's the gear choices. We'll go through this, and we've went through this before in other videos. In Delta Force 2, you will have the option of selecting 4 unique items, weapons, in addition to standard gear of a combat knife, grenades, and laser designator. And you also select which primary weapon your computer controls teammates which will carry before the mission. In addition, the mission carries if a mission carries an armory, which not all missions have armories, you will have the opportunity to switch out gear during the mission. I'm going to pause briefly to tell you, a lot of the co-op missions have got a built-in timer, and let's say if you had to blow up the comm center and it doesn't have an armory in the mission, then they'll give you a time with the timer, the host, to at least select one satchel charge to blow. And the only way to blow up a comm center is a satchel charge. You can't blow it up with a law rocket. You can't blow it up with anything except a satchel charge. And if you have no timer built in and you're going from map to map to map to map, if it doesn't have an armory, now if it has an armory, you don't worry about it. Okay, you can always go to the if it has an armory, you don't have to worry about it because you can go and get the weapons you need. But if it doesn't, then it would require a timer prior to, or you would have to get off that mission and go into your settings and change at least one satchel charge. So primary weapons: M4 and shotgun, a master key, magazine 30 round, 12 gauge, 70 millimeter cartridge, effective range 500 meters. Accessories: 4x scope, lightweight and accurate. The M4 is used for close quarter combat, just like the larger cousin M16. In addition to the attached M68 reflex sight, allows for effective lethal fire at a range of 500 meters. The M4 is gas operated, air cooled, and highly reliable in the field use. The master key incorporates is a highly modified Remington model 870 shotgun attached under the barrel of the rifle, named for its practical use in opening and removing doors. The master key is a favorite among Delta Force operatives. Now, this next one here, the M4, it's the same thing as this. Only difference is it has a grenade launcher. We're not going to waste a lot of time on this. It just has a grenade launcher on there. And let's see how many, I don't know how many you get with this. Yeah, but we won't waste any time on this. Here's the Heckler and Koch uh, MP5 SD3 submachine gun, 30 round, effective range, 100 meters. Um, Accessories and integral suppressor, deadly combination HK MP5 SD3 is both silent and accurate, built by with the special H&K roller lock boat system. This submachine gun is capable of single shot controlled burst and semi-automatic firing. Coated with magnetically charged black lacquer paint, in P5 extremely resistant to harsh conditions such as saltwater corrosion. The free floating coat hammered forged barrel and bivorous pistol grip make this weapon unique in its class. Now, this particular weapon itself, it's not equipped with a laser. Of course, you're not going to put a scope on something like that. It's a short machine gun, but it does not have a laser on this particular gun. Now, the real MP5, you need to have a laser on the thing, but this one does not have a laser. And there's several other weapons we'll go through that doesn't have a laser. And this next one does not have a laser or a scope on it, and that's the M249 SAW. M249 SAW squad automatic weapon, magazine 200 rounds per box. And if you want to max it out, then you won't carry it. The only thing you'll carry after that would be extra ammo. But if you got additional law rockets or anything else, it will take away the rounds on this. And that's the thing that people have to understand about these weapons. If you use like a law rocket, or max out your law rockets, or max out your satchel charges, it will take away your how many rounds you get in your guns. I mean, it doesn't apply to the 45 sidearm handgun, but it applies to the rifles, the machine guns. It affects. So it would take this right here, 200, and it would go down significantly. We're going to do a video on that sometime, and I'm going to go through the limits, what it will take away, and we're going to be doing a video on that, on weapons, and we will know exactly how many rounds it takes away from. But you actually need the law rockets in a lot of missions, like if you're taking on the APCs, which are deadly. You could take out the APCs more effectively with the law rockets, and we'll go through the law rockets here in a little bit. The M right here is the M4OA A1 sniper rifle, magazine 5 rounds. I don't use this one at all. Effective range 800 meters, about the same as this. Accessory 10 by scope, based on the Remington Model 700. This 7.62 rifle is optimized by pinpoint accuracy, handmade by specialists at Quantico. M4A1 is renowned for its competition grade stainless steel barrel, reinforced fiberglass stock, and 10 by fire sniper scope. The M4A1 is preferred sniper rifle among U.S. Marines. Okay, that's the weapon they use. Now I'm going to get back to this just a second. And it just says right here, standard SS-109. That's for the M249 SAW, 5.56 millimeter ammunition. And it replaces the Agent BAR, Browning automatic rifle. That's the weapon. The BAR was the weapon that Bonnie and Clyde used. And this actually replaces that weapon. Here's a good weapon here. It's got a scope. It's the Barrett, and this right here is manufactured in my state of Tennessee. It's the Barrett Light 50 caliber sniper rifle, magazine 8 round. The magazine holds up to 10 rounds. Now there again, in all these weapons, if you max out or you get a law rocket or satchel charge or whatever, and it could take away your how many rounds you get, and we're going to be going into that later. Effective range 1,500 meters. Okay, that's a good range. Accessory 10 by scope, and we'll get into that. We'll talk about the scope capability. We're going to be making a special video for that one as well. The Barrett 0.5 Light 50 model A2A1 is a long-range, hard-target interdiction weapon. The gun operates on short recoil principles, where the barrel is fitted with a high-efficiency muzzle brake to reduce recoil. An adjustable self-leveling bipod aids the sniper in aiming this high-powered rifle. The Barrett is heavy and cannot be fired accurately while moving. Snipers are most accurate in the prone position with the Barrett. Here's another weapon that's used in underwater, and it's a real weapon. It's the 5.66 millimeter APS underwater assault rifle or underwater machine gun. Magazine 26 drag stabilized darts, but when I was playing, it looked like it was bullets. Effective range 100 meters in the air, 30 meters underwater. Intended to be used for underwater combat, the 5.66 millimeter APS rifle quietly fires specifically designed 150 millimeter long darts, which are capable of penetrating wetsuits and face mask at range. The actual range of this weapon underwater will vary with depth. It sounds like a dart gun almost, the way they're describing it. But that's not the way. When you play the game, it's like a bullet, and it sounds, it's unusual sound. Secondary weapon, satchel charge, or radio detonator. You need to use that when you blow up comm centers or blow up buildings. That's the only thing you can use when it calls for like blown up buildings, blown up, unless it's like a silo or those big white tanks. You could do that with a law rocket or grenade launcher. But the silos, the only way to blow up the big long silos, tower-like silos, the only way to blow them things up is with a law rocket. Satchel charged with radio detonator packed with high explosives. The Army issued satchels is quick and compact way of taking out enemy installations after placing the package. Delta Force operatives moved to a safe range and detonated with a radio signal. MA-18 Claymore with motion sensor was developed in the Korean War to counteract massive infantry charges by the Chinese. This anti-personnel mine is made up of curved plate that contains 700 ball bearings packed in front of a sheet of C4 plastic explosives. Directional fragmentation mines are fixed in the trees or planted in the ground on the convex side facing the enemy, clearly marked front forward. Enemy, when activated, explodes the ball bearing up to 50 meters in a 60-degree arc. Okay, we're going to stop right there and talk a little bit about this. Now, I never used this at all myself, but on a lot of the games, a lot of the missions, I've noticed that these will be planted, like if you're trying to take a beach. Like they've got several maps on Delta Force 2 that's like Normandy Beach type of thing, and they'll have punji sticks and things like that. And this is one of the things they do. Now these can be blown up with your guns. You could shoot these, and you need to shoot these when you're trying to go past and take an area, so that the enemy will plant these out there. And this is a threat that needs to be addressed when you are playing the on the missions. This is the law rocket right here, light anti-tank weapon, effective range 400 meters. The M72 light anti-tank weapon fires a single 66 millimeter explosive round capable of penetrating at least 350 millimeter of armor. When the round impacts its target, the front cone collapses and pushes the energy into a small area. A copper slug ricochets around the interior of the target, while gas propellants ignites fuel and ammunition. The high-strength aluminum fiberglass composite tube is considered disposable after the rocket has been launched. Now we're gonna talk about this for a second. Now, a lot of times on the missions, it calls for ships to be ships to be sunk, or APCs, armored personnel carriers, or just regular tanks. Now on the APCs, one of these would take out an APC, but not the case with tanks. Now, on some tanks, you'd have to use a whole bunch of LOL rockets to take out a tank. You could also take out a tank with the grenade launcher as well. And but on the ships itself, you would have to use multiple LOL rockets, not a lot. And then on the actual grenade launcher, you would about take out all your grenades in taking out a ship. But this right here cuts that down. You got the extra ammo, and you got the 6 fabrication grenades. You can either impact or time delay of 4 to 7 seconds. So they got a time delay grenade you could choose. Laser designator for designated targets for artillery strikes. That only happens in certain missions. You always get a K-bar knife for silent close combat takedowns. Binoculars. You get a issued binoculars. Sidearm special operations 45 pistol. No matter what you do on the other guns, you will always get 10 rounds no matter what. Effective range 50 meters. Delta Force uses the Heckler & Koch USSOCOM semi-automatic pistol as its standard sidearm, made from a polymer plastic like a 45 employs a mechanical recoil reduction system and a signature Heckler & Koch polygon barrel for increased accuracy. Now, they do have a download that you could have that switched to a Glock instead of a 45. Right here, we're not going to go through that much on the Special Operations 45 pistol. Silence is just basically a silencer, and you can put that on your when you select it. In the armory, there's different places, right? You get that. The Heckler & Koch. This goes along with the underwater machine gun. Heckler & Koch P11 underwater pistol, magazine 5 rounds, effective range 15 meters. Delta Force operatives use this virtually silent pistol for infiltration from sea to shore. An electric charge is used to fire the rounds. So this is a real weapon. All these weapons on here are real weapons. Okay, we're going to be talking about right here the auxiliary gear. And then I'm going to talk about the ones that are totally useless. This one right here is a good equipment to have if you're having to swim a long distance to get to a certain area. The LARV rebreather and fins, basically it's scuba diving equipment, allows operatives to stay underwater longer, where the LARV on land will decrease your movement speed. I've never tested it out, but we're going to test it out too. The ghillie suit, optimal camouflage suit for a sniper. This particular suit is totally useless on co-op maps. The enemy AI enemy can still see you and kill you, and there's no way you could hide from the AI bad guys on co-op. You could use it on the death match and the team death match, and camouflage and blend in. But as far as co-op, totally useless. Totally useless. Kevlar vest, that's another thing, but this is totally useless on co-op and team deathmatch and deathmatch. It will not protect you. I don't know why they even use this on here. This particular Kevlar vest will not protect you, as far as I know. I have not tested this. I have not tested this at all. We will try to do a test on a small arms. Now what that means is the handguns. Okay? Now, I want to do a test on this. And if there's anybody that wants to help me do a test on this, we will make a special video on this and see if there's anybody that's interested in doing a video with me. You can contact me, Mark Davis 1865 @gmail.com. if you're interested in doing a test video for the Kevlar vest. I plan on doing that. I want to test to see if the Kevlar vest can stop you from being killed with a handgun. I know it's not going to stop if you're using the M4 carbine. It's going to go right through it, but we're going to see if it works with a 45. Military surveillance camera used to fire key to place this highly durable field video unit down. Use your surveillance camera F12 key to remotely view what the camera sees. And that's really interesting about this, because I used the F12 key for Bandicam. It's the same key, so it's got like some kind of a camera thing application. It's interesting they used the F12 key for that as well. It's tied to the camera, I guess, on your computer and on this system here. Game controls, mouse control, look up and down, left mouse button, right mouse button, middle mouse button, fire weapons, select item on the commander's map, toggle scope, move the commander's map if available, SCRL window full screen toggle, pause, V is cycle resolution, home multiplayer host screen, and we're not gonna go through this. We will go through when we get to the keyboard, and we're not going to go through this as well. Like I said, a lot of your this stuff is put on your keyboard and your mouse. If you got everything set up right, it should be automatically set up, and you shouldn't mess around with a lot of the settings and your mouse. And I'm going to do a special video on that, on the mouse, what the mouse does as far as the weapons and everything. And here's the keyboard, and we went through this before. And you know, the F1 is the help key, first person point of view. The F2 crosshairs on and off. F3 first person gun on and off. We're not going to go through a lot of this. We went through this before. And you need to make a copy of this. I'm gonna actually, what I'll do, I'm gonna do a screenshot of this, and then I will post this. And then you need to, I'll get, whoever wants a copy of this, I will do a screenshot and I will post it. And if you want this, I will send this to you. I will send you a screenshot of this, and I will take a screenshot of this, because I actually need to get one like this. I already got one, but I want to get this one because it's color coded. All right, here, this is the information link, such as current mission orders, status of your squad, will be transmitted here via your radio. Now, this one right here, it's got stand, crouch, lie prone. So you really need to learn all these different positions to be an effective player on Delta Force 1, 2, and all the other ones. You got to learn the keyboards and the mouse, and I do it by instinct. I know which ones. I don't have to use that many, but I know what does what just by instinct. It takes it took me a year to get used to the weapons and everything on the keyboard, and I've been on it since 2004. And there was a time I wasn't able to play it for various reasons, able to get on there, and I've been hosting on and off, and I go back and forth. Now I'm back to hosting, and I do it part-time. Mission data, waypoint indicator, GPS map. Right here it says the enemies with facing indicator. Now I want to see if we could actually see it, because like I said, I haven't seen that in a long time, because I don't think they really want you to see the enemy. It'd be easy to take out the enemy if you could see their GPS locations. And the scope talks about the scope. Commander screen talks about the when you press the C key. And I need to get a copy of this as well for my own records. This is really interesting. I love this. I love this setting in there, and I love this. I need to get a. I want to get a screenshot of this. I think it's really cool. They thought of everything on Delta Force 2. And he goes through a lot of it, you know, when they were talking about the GPS. And like I said, if you have any questions for me, I will, you know, I'll tell you everything about it. In fact, I'll teach you how to play the game effectively, what weapons and things on the keyboard. If you have any questions, I'll teach you everything I know. I know a lot about the game, how to play the game, the keyboard, everything. I mean, I know everything about it. I don't know how to make the maps, but I know everything else about the game. I'm still learning things like I want to be able to put the titles and stuff when I'm hosting. But other than that, I know everything else about the game itself. So if you want to know about the games, you need to everything about this specific Delta Force 2. If you want to know anything about this, you can contact me. You can also contact Jason. He's made Delta Force 2 Companion or DF2 Companion. Here's Nova World multiplayer games right here. And you have 50 players. This is on Team Deathmatch or Deathmatch games. I usually don't mess with that LAN IPX thing. Now you can put game password on co-op as well. You type the country and serve and play. If you put on there just serve, you can't play on there. I don't use that. Some hosts use this to serve and they get back on there. Here's right here the types. Cooperative in the game, you replace single player missions where your computer controlled squad mates are replaced up to 3 human players. Most Delta Force training at Fort Bragg involves working with a team to overcome simulated terrorist attacks. You see, play the same scenario multiple times to see how different team strategies work. Note that you can play any campaign or quick mission as cooperative regardless of whether you have gotten to it in a single player mode or not. However, in cooperative play the mission will be harder than a single player version to compensate for additional human players. Generally, this means an increase in the number of enemies encountered. Well, that's interesting. So it sounds like to me if you have more players, there'll be more bad guys. I don't know if that's true or not. I've not noticed. I've not noticed that myself. I've had to kill hundreds, 200 or more in this one mission, and it's not. And I was on there by myself, and it's not changed the numbers. I don't know where they're getting this information at. And it talks about deathmatch and all that. People that are into that. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. I used to be in the public deathmatch. I'm not into these. We're not going to go over that. Multiplayer hosting games. Host of the multiplayer game will be able to set different options to determine how the game functions. Team selection. Allow friendly fire on. That's in the settings. Friendly fire warning. Friendly tags. Team live. Squadron password. See, all this stuff, like I said, this takes time to learn all this stuff. It can't be taught overnight. It takes time to learn this. But once you learn it, you'll love it. The voice over net, as I said, it's not relevant to Delta Force 2. I don't know about um, Land Warrior or the other ones. They may have some other setup. I don't know. But as far as Delta Force 2, I can tell you, it's not relevant. It doesn't work anymore, and it used to freeze the game. I did use it one time when I was talking to Pony on it, and like I said, it is totally useless. And the only options they got now, and they tried Roger Wilco, and it went out of business, just like when Nova Logic or Nova World went out of business. This right here stopped the voice over net. The only option now is Discord or what I suggested, Zello, and I've given the players on Delta Force 2 the option of using Zello for communications. Right here, this is the voice over net keypad commands. Like I said again, we're not going to go over this because it's no longer relevant to Delta Force 2. So we're not going to go over this. And this right here is the troubleshooting. And the internet etiquette, Nova Logic does not monitor voice over net communications. If you are having trouble with another player, we strongly suggest that you mute them when using a form of communications. Please be considerate of other people using hateful, discriminatory, or obscene language will probably get you muted. And you could try using a text, the T key, to ask them politely to unmute you. If they choose to keep you muted, it probably wouldn't have been an interesting conversation anyway. Now we're going to talk about internet etiquette right now. I'm going to dedicate a little bit of time to that. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I will say this. And I'm one of the hosts, and there's other hosts. You got Shooter, you got Undertaker, and MSW 2, and you got Shooter and Killing Fields, and you got the other on behalf of the other host on the deathmatch team deathmatch games and co-ops. We would ask that people don't bully other players. Treat everybody with respect. Don't bully anybody. Cuss anybody out. Foul language. Sexual harassment will not be tolerated on the Delta Force 2 games. And that goes for Delta Force 1, Delta Force 2. And I don't know if anybody plays on that game anymore, Delta Force 1. But Delta Force 1, Delta Force 2, Land Warrior, and all the other ones, Black Hawk Down, you name it, we will not tolerate any kind of racial comments, sexual harassment, bullying, you name it, foul language. You got to treat all the players with respect as teammates. And I consider all the ones I play on co-op as my brothers, and we work together as a team to accomplish the mission. And another thing too, when a player comes in, I greet them, and that is expected of all players to respond. When you're playing the mission, I say hello to whoever it may be, like Raptor, for example, or Peru, P-E-R-O, or Cabo. I'll say hello, Cabo. I will greet them out of respect, out of courtesy, and we expect that on the games. We expect it on Delta Force 1, Delta Force 2, Land Warrior, and all of them, as a courtesy. When you're playing on the co-op games, when you're playing on co-op, I don't know about the etiquette on deathmatch. They probably cuss each other out. I don't know how they act over there, but I will tell you this: on co-op, there's rules and regulations that you have to go by, and we will not tolerate abusive behavior, or you can be banned. And I think I speak for a lot of the hosts on the co-op maps. It's right here. It goes. We're not going to go through this. I can't talk with every player. You're limited to a player at a time, and all this. This is all to do with voice over net, which is not relevant to this. Technical support, there again. The Nova Logic, Nova World, whatever you want to call it, they were sold off to another company. I can tell you, I forgot what the name of the company is. I've done some research, and I don't even know if NovaLogic.com is a relevant company anymore. I don't think it is, or relevant URL. The phone numbers are not relevant. They used to have information here, and I remember dealing with them when I had problems with Delta Force Black Hawk Down, because it was almost like a virus when I got it, and I had to call technical support back then. I don't know. I forgot what year that Nova Logic went out of business. I think it was a mistake that they sold out. They had an incredible staff that knew what they were doing. I wish they were still in business, but they're not. But at least we got some smart people that they're still around that could teach this to the younger players, and that's what we do. We want to keep the Delta Force series alive. Like I said, this was all done by Nova Logic. These were done by geniuses, and there's no longer around. And this right here just shows the warranties, all that other stuff, information. And like I said, I don't know if any of this stuff is relevant. I don't think it is. But, you know, like I said, now this is a good game to play. And like I said, we covered most of it. And we've done other videos when we covered like the keyboard, for example. And we've done this. We covered this before on the weapons and stuff. So there it is. This is the Delta Force 2 operations manual. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to include this link of the PDF file for everybody. If you need to get this, you can contact me and I will send you a link to the PDF file. And you could take screenshots of it. You can make copies of it, laminate it, and then on, like, for example, a lot of this stuff right here I want to make copies of. I want to make copies of that right there. I want to make copies of the weapons. I want to make copies of all this stuff. I'm going to have a little area. I'm going to have it where I'm at now. I want to get all this here because this is really cool, because I'm going to make several copies of this myself, and I'm going to have a copy of several copies of the keyboard, because I love this one because it's color coded. Alright, we're going to close out, and this is the Delta Force 2 manual.